I know Halloween just passed, but the Oklahoma City Thunder are one of the scariest teams in the entire NBA right now. And it's not just because they're young. It's not just because they're off to a hot start. And it's just a combination of a whole bunch of things. And the Oklahoma City Thunders have so much going for them. And although I do think they're starting to slowly get the respect that they deserve, and they're starting to get the attention that they deserve, I still don't think it's to the point to where people fully understand the full potential of this roster. And I'm getting into why I think this roster is so terrifying and why it may become an unstoppable force in the next couple of seasons, and maybe even by the end of this season. And I'm going to be getting to all that in this video, so if it does sound interesting, please watch it all the way through, hit the like button, subscribe button, mean the world to me, and without further ado, without rambling on too much, let's get right into this video. The first thing that I want to get into is going to be how versatile this starting lineup is for the Thunder. They have one of the most versatile starting fives in the entire NBA. As you started off, you have to talk about Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Shai is a legitimately borderline MVP candidate level player. Now, he most likely will never win the MVP, at least as long as he's in OKC, because let's be honest, it's OKC. They're a small market. I'm a small market fan. They're not giving it to him. Okay, they're gonna give it to the Jokic's of the world. Like, either he's gonna have to play out of his mind, insane, so to where they have to give it to them, or they're going to give it to someone like, once again, like Jokic or Milwaukee and Giannis or players like that. It most likely won't go to Shai, but he is a borderline MVP candidate with how good he can play. I think he needs to be a little bit more consistent in how he plays, but to win an MVP, that is, outside of MVP level, like, he's an extremely good player. But Shai can literally do anything you want him to do. He's one of the best players in the NBA. He can score with the best of them. He's just overall one of the best players that the NBA currently has to offer. And anytime you have a player like that can just go out and give you a bucket whenever you need him to, adds a lot of different things you can do with a starting lineup. And then add on the fact that they have a guy like Josh Giddey, who although kind of gets a bad rep with even some Thunders fans because he doesn't score a lot, at least he doesn't shoot efficiently, Giddey does so many other things extremely well. Josh Giddey, I think it's like a 6'6", 6'7" point guard, something like that, and he has extremely good court vision. Like, his passing is extremely high level. His defense is even kind of solid because his length and his size advantages on the defensive side of the ball for his position gives him a lot of advantages and versatility on that side of the ball, and it just overall makes him an extremely solid player. And with a guy like Chet Holmgren getting integrated into the offensive system this year, it obviously someone was going to have to lose touches, and then most likely that guy was going to be either Lou Dort or Josh Giddey, and Josh Giddey's kind of losing his touches and his shots a little bit, but I don't think that's a bad thing either. I think it's just kind of something that had to happen once they introduce a guy like Chet Holmgren. So I think Josh Giddey is still going to be able to provide a lot to this roster, and his size provides a lot of versatility as well, and I think they can use him in a lot of ways. And with that ball handling and that court vision, I think Giddey provides a lot for this starting lineup. And then kind of the unsung hero of this team, we have Lou Dort. Now, Lou Dort is one of the most high energy guys, do-it-all type players in the NBA. Now, he's never going to wow you. Like, he can put up 30, don't get me wrong, he's done it before, but he's not going to do that consistently. He's more of a guy that's going to get you around 10, 15 points any given night while playing extremely good on defense, grabbing the rebound, and just playing way bigger than he actually is. And every team would love to have a guy like that. He's kind of like a Marcus Smart kind of mold. Now, he's not as good defensively as Smart, but he just plays kind of the same role that someone like Smart provides. And we saw how valuable he was to the Boston Celtics all those years when they were trying to make it to the finals. And I still think they're going to miss a guy like that. And you can see that even Boston kind of replaced him by going out and getting Drew Holiday. And those type of players are just so important to lineups, even if they're not the flashiest star level players on a roster. And Lou Dort, having a guy that's willing to do all the dirty work, all the hard things, while your star talent and your offensive players can do the kind of more flashy things to stay in the limelight more, and you have a guy that's unselfish and doesn't really care about that, like Lou Dort is, that is extremely valuable on a roster. It helps keep egos in check. It just helps the team overall function as a whole, and it makes your team play much better as, like I said, a whole, opposed to if you had a whole bunch of 5 individuals just trying to score 30 every single game. That's not what he does. He's going to do exactly what you need him to do to win every single night, and Lou Dort is just an extremely valuable piece of this team and probably the most underrated player on this roster. And then the next guy I want to get into is going to be Jalen Williams. Now, Jalen Williams was an absolute steal from last year's class. I'm not going to lie, I wasn't familiar with him going into that year, and that is on me. And he was extremely good for them in that class, and last year legitimately became their second option when Cho's out, and now he's their really probably third option, at least third option for the future, and that is extremely good. That's not a diss at all to Jalen Williams. Like, he is a absolute bucket. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the best dunkers and layup guys in the league, and he can also shoot the ball when he has to and things like that. Like, he is a great player, and for that to be your third option at as young as he is, and he's only going to get better from here, is extremely, extremely encouraging. And he's just at all three levels can score. He has good two-way potential. He's a solid athlete. He can guard the point guard through small forward positions, and he's just overall an extremely, extremely solid player. And then you have the rookie this year, who's technically a rookie, Chet Holmgren, who was injured all of his actual rookie season, and he is already one of the best shot blockers and rim protectors in the entire NBA. On top of that, he's also dropping about 20 points per game, and on top of that, he's doing it on shooting 60% from the field and 52% from the three-point line. Now, I do think the three-point percentage is probably going to drop off, because 50% from the three-point line is retarded. That's insane. It's going to drop off. But still, if he can just shoot at a 40% clip or a high 30% clip, well, then that is extremely, extremely efficient coming from your 7'3" guy, or I think he's like 7'4". He's very tall, put it that way. He's super lengthy, has tons of offensive talent, and also his defense is extremely, extremely good. And that is just their starting five. And with that starting five, like I said, Chet, although he doesn't have the speed to keep up with the faster point guards, he has enough length to make up for it and legitimately can guard 1 through 5 on the entire court at any time for any given amount of time. Jalen Williams can guard multiple positions. Lou Dort plays bigger than he is. He's able to guard multiple positions. Josh Giddey provides tons of matchup nightmares due to his size, and he can also guard many positions. And then also Shea, although not being a great defender, is not a bad defender either, and even he has the size to at least stay in front of people when he has to. So this lineup just provides so many different options, and there's so many avenues you have to worry about and guard and game plan for. They're just so hard to, like I said, game plan for, and that's what makes them so scary and what makes them so versatile. And the more versatile you can be in the NBA, and the more ways teams have the game plan to beat you, that's just going to make it even harder to beat you on a night in, night out basis, especially once it comes to playoff time, where teams really get the more time to hone in and game plan on you. The more that they have to focus on is the least they're able to master against you, and that is extremely, extremely valuable. And probably the most impressive thing is the oldest one out of all of them is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and he is only 25 years old. He's not even in his prime years yet. He's already a borderline MVP candidate, and the rest of them are all younger than him, so they're all going to build that chemistry together, and they're all going to get better and better and better together and learn how to play together, and they're only going to get more efficient as a unit as time goes on, which is extremely, extremely intriguing and very scary to think about when you think of 2-3 years down the road when their chemistry is at basically 100%. They can hit the ground running. They know exactly what each other want to do. All their talent levels are even increased a little bit because they're older, and it's just going to be so fun to watch going into the future. And then even outside of just their starting lineup, they have extremely good role players. Their sixth man off the bench right now is Cason Wallace, and Cason Wallace is their rookie from this season, who's already an extremely, extremely valuable piece to this rotation. He is a baby Drew Holiday kind of right now in his career. He's extremely good on defense. He can guard 1 through 3, really. He's just extremely good on defense, and he's just very smart. He's very crafty on that side of the ball. He's very good at getting steals. He has very active hands. He's just overall a very good player. Now, although he doesn't give you around 20 points per game like Drew does as of right now, he's still giving them 7 points per game off the bench on, by the way, shooting 81% from the field and 83% from the three-point line. Now, obviously, those efficiencies are most likely not going to stand the test of time throughout this season, but if he's shooting around 45 to 50% from the field and 35 to 40% from 3, that is still an extremely good clip coming off from the 6th man off your bench, and he's just the perfect Lou Gent's replacement when you're coming off the bench. There is almost no drop off between the two because they play so similar and they both have such similar play styles. They don't have to change really anything, and he's just perfect to replace him and be their 6th man off the bench. And then the last guy that I think is important to mention as a role player for this team is going to be Isaiah Joe. Now, Isaiah Joe is not talked about at all outside of Oklahoma City Thunder fans. Nobody talks about him, but he is one of the better spark plug type players off of anyone's bench. Now, he's not going to come out every night and give you 15 points off the bench, but he is very capable of coming out on any night and giving you 20 plus points, because he is just that guy that if he's on a certain night, he can single-handedly carry your team on the offensive end when he's in the game, and he just kind of provides that Devontae Graham-esque role while being an even bigger player and just being more capable of doing other things on the floor as well when he's there. And Isaiah Joe is just one of the better offensive role players off of a bench in the entire NBA, and literally no one talks about him because, like I said, he's on the Thunder, and hopefully he gets his credit deserved if the Thunder end up being a really good team by the end of this season. And I just hope he starts getting the credit he deserves, because no one talks about him, and he is an extremely, extremely good player. And then on top of that, they still have guys like Kenrich Williams and the other Jalen Williams coming back. Jalen Williams last year was their starting center, who, although didn't play great, he is an extremely good hustle guy. He's going to play what you want him to do. He's very good. He's very coachable, and he's just all around a very solid backup level big, and he's going to be big for them to get back. And then they have also Kenrich Williams, who once again is one of those guys who isn't very talented, but he's going to hustle his ass off. He used to be on my Pelicans, and that's all he does. His nickname was literally Kenny Hustle when he was on the Pelicans, because he will dive on the floor, grab a rebound, play defense. He just does all the dirty work, and that's what you want out of your role players, especially if they don't have the talent to score. What are you going to provide? And that is exactly what the other role players on this roster provide, and they just play as a team, they play the right way, and they're going to be extremely, extremely scary going into the future, especially the fact that they have 1,000 other draft picks that they can either trade or just use to pick players, and they can just do so many different things with building this team going into the future and making it even better than it already is. There's no telling how scary this Oklahoma City Thunder team is going to be in just the next few seasons. And with the versatility, with the size this team has, with the future this team has, just from a development standpoint and also a draft capital standpoint, there's almost impossible for this team not to get even better in a significant way going down the line in the future. But unfortunately, guys, that's going to be for this video. So comment below, do you think the Oklahoma City Thunder are scary? How good do you think they can be? How far do you think they can go in the future? I want to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. If you like the point, hit the like button and subscribe button. It means the absolute world to me. I hope you have a blessed day, because I had a blessed day, so you need to have a blessed day. I'll go to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah.